More fallout after Congressman Glenn Grothman's controversial comments about voter ID.
Well, I think Hillary Clinton is about the weakest candidate the Democrats have ever put up, and now we have photo ID, and I think photo ID is going to make a little bit of a difference as well.
And now a former chief of staff to a state senator says he left the Republican Party because of what lawmakers said about voter ID before it was passed.
Bridget Shanahan tells us what that former staffer says he heard.
The former Republican first unleashed on his Facebook page in this long post here, calling out the Republican Party, saying when it comes to voter ID in Wisconsin, lawmakers, quote, took the coward's way out.
I was ticked off.
3 days after Wisconsin's presidential primary, Todd Alba is still fired up.
I think equality, equal rights, and voting rights are two of the things that are just fundamentally guaranteed to each and every American Wisconsinite, and I saw that being denied.
We Skype with him from the coffee shop he now owns in Madison. He says he wrote the Facebook post after one of his employees couldn't get a Wisconsin ID fast enough to vote. Todd believes that's exactly what voter ID was meant to do.
The intent was to suppress voters in those areas that traditionally vote Democrat.
And Todd says he would know because he used to be the chief of staff for Republican State Senator Dale Schultz. Todd describes a meeting where he says Republican lawmakers were discussing the voter ID bill before it became law.
There was one thing on their minds, and that was to have a political advantage.
This morning, Governor Scott Walker tweeted, "Biggest turnout since 1972. Presidential primary shows that photo ID law works. Easy to vote, hard to cheat."
That doesn't mean that people aren't being denied their right to vote. He loves to get away from the actual truth and do kind of an end run around the people. And, with me, it ain't going to work because I was actually there.
We did call the Wisconsin Republican Party, and their spokesperson told us he was surprised we were still talking about voter ID and refused to comment for the story. Instead, he pointed us to Walker's tweet. Bridget Shanahan, today's TMJ4.
Bridget, thank you. There were some problems on Tuesday, specifically first-time voters on the Marquette campus reported long lines to register. Some voters left and then had to come back. More than 2 million people voted in the primary election.